Chapter 480. Listening to Ji Xiu's voice, Hua Yin seemed to have lost all her strength as she stared blankly at the sky. Her combat power had indeed transformed as she wished, but she had become Ji Xiu's person. Additionally, the creation heavenly monument was also comprehended by Ji Xiu. But what she didn't expect was that Ji Xiu not only deciphered the creation heavenly monument, but even moved the entire monument away. In the future, this guy will probably be the calamity of my fourth realm. No, the calamity of the entire 9 heavens. Hua Yin murmured, slumping down in place, lost in thought. Meanwhile, after Ji Xiu and Li Yu left the peak of creation, they encountered the Creation Emperor. At this moment, the Creation Emperor had disheveled hair and a vacant look in his eyes as he stared at Ji Xiu. He had also suffered from a strange erosion, and his cultivation had broken through to the immortal realm. However, he did not feel joy, only fear, because he could sense how terrifying the strange power within him was. Moreover, this strange power had been devouring his life essence until he met Ji Xiu. Ji Xiu, the young master. The Creation Emperor felt the agitation of the strange power within him the moment he saw Ji Xiu, and the pressure from deep within his soul made him kneel before Ji Xiu. Chapter 481. This king agrees. Since you want the primordial source stone, this king can give it to you. But this king has one condition. Hua Yin took a deep breath. She had weighed the pros and cons. The fourth realm had been separated from the 9 heavens for too long, having entered the end of the law era as early as the last epoch. She knew whether the fourth realm could survive this epoch, so she decided to take a gamble, betting that Ji Xiu could restart the primordial source stone and open the time-space door that had been closed for eons between the fourth realm and the 9 heavens. Upon hearing this, Ji Xiu looked at Hua Yin with interest and teased, "Goddess, do you have the qualification to negotiate terms with this king?" "You." Hua Yin clenched her jade fists, her beautiful eyes glaring angrily at Ji Xiu. Just then, Ji Xiu changed his tone and said, "Of course, even so, this young master can listen to the goddess's conditions." "Huh." Hua Yin took a deep breath and said, "The primordial source stone, this king agrees. But you're not allowed to use the power you used against this king to deal with the fourth realm." He. Ji Xiu shook his head and chuckled. "Hua Yin, this young master has said, no one can hinder Li Yu's way home." Chapter 482. This is the legendary primordial imperial clan. Ji Xiu nodded as he felt the incoming source energy. The primordial star realm is the self-built star realm of the primordial imperial clan. Above the sky, various strange mystical beasts soared. Floating islands connected one after another, and celestial mountains stretched endlessly, with magnificent palaces standing like cities. Yes, Hua Yin nodded. She led Ji Xiu and Li Yu towards the long-awaited members of the primordial imperial clan. "Greetings, goddess. Greetings, master." Ji Wuchun and the 10 great elders of the imperial clan bowed to Hua Yin. After that, everyone turned their cold gazes towards Ji Xiu and Li Yu. Notably, Li Yu wore a hat, concealing her true face, and her mysterious and powerful aura made everyone feel a bit breathless. However, the Forbidden Goddess could see Li Yu's identity at a glance, as she had previously been defeated by Li Yu, so she was quite familiar with her. "It's her. How did she be here?" The Forbidden Goddess furrowed her brows, feeling a bad premonition rising in her heart for some reason. "Master, nowadays, rumors are rampant in the fourth realm. They say our primordial imperial clan is in cahoots with Ji Xiu. Please tell your disciple that this isn't true. He is just your captive, right?" Chapter 483. You err. Let's go. Let's first see what that woman Hua Yin wants to do. Ji Xiu stretched lazily and spoke comfortably. "You err?" Upon hearing this title, Li Yu paused, a strange feeling emerging in her heart. Her pretty face flushed, and she glared at Ji Xiu with her beautiful eyes. Lightly opening her red lips, "Ji Xiu, in this life, this empress is not your wife." "Oh." Ji Xiu raised his eyebrows and casually asked, "Then who is the divine emperor to me?" Upon hearing this, Li Yu fell silent for a moment and then said, "Master, this empress is your master." Cough, cough, cough. Ji Xiu looked at Li Yu's serious expression and couldn't help but cough 3 times, whispering, "Doesn't that mean this young master has a marital relationship with his master?" "Shut up." Li Yu lightly scolded, feeling that Ji Xiu always had a way of leaving her speechless. However, even so, she stubbornly said, "In any case, you're not allowed to call me Yuer." After saying that, Li Yu turned and walked towards the imperial palace. "Wait for me." You yeah. No, my lady. Ji Xiao helplessly chased after Li Yu, and at this moment, it could be seen that Li Yu's steps were a bit unsteady, evidently affected by Ji Xiao's words. Chapter 484, The Feather Transformation Imperial Clan. Currently, it is the strongest imperial clan among the 10 great imperial clans, and it is said that this clan has 4 immortal kings. Li Yu said with interest. It should be said that only 3 remain. Ji Xiao replied playfully. Only 3 remain. Li Yu nodded. She was also present that day before the Emperor's sky abyss. She was hiding in the shadows and personally witnessed Ji Xiao slaughter an immortal king. As for the methods used, she had seen them and knew that this was one of Ji Xiao's strongest trump cards. Let's go. Meet the lord of the primordial imperial clan, Ji Xiao said with a smile. After saying that, he and Li Yu walked side by side into the ancient primordial palace. The empty ancient primordial palace was surrounded by holy flames, and a heavenly lord, Hua Xian, sat at the top of the ancient palace. Young Master Ji Xiao, what brings you here? Hua Xian asked lightly, turning his back to Ji Xiao and Li Yu. Upon hearing this, Ji Xiao smiled and said, Senior, is the primordial source stone really in the Feather Transformation Imperial Clan? Hua Xian snorted coldly and retorted, What? Are you questioning this lord's words? Do you think that with Hua Yin backing you, you can do whatever you want in my primordial imperial clan? Chapter 485 in the 4th Realm. The Feather Transformation Star Realm, the Imperial Clan, and the Blackwater Heavenly Prison. This is the most terrifying prison of the Feather Transformation Imperial Clan, where every strong person in prison here has at least the cultivation of the Emperor Godmaster, and there are even several who have reached the Immortal Realm. In a dark cell of the Blackwater Prison, a young man with a strong and perfect physique lay helplessly in the corner, his body covered in countless crimson scars. His once spirited face was now as pale as paper, and his breath was weak like that of a mayfly. He was indeed the true dragon's son, captured after the battle at the Imperial Pass and imprisoned deep within the Blackwater Prison of the Ascension Imperial Clan, where prominent figures of the clan visited him daily. In just a few months, all of his heritage had been seized by the Ascension Imperial Clan, and even worse, their high-ranking members had crazily set their sights on his true blood and true dragon bones. Now, half of his true blood had been drawn out, and if it weren't for those people not wanting to kill the goose that lays the golden eggs, his true dragon bones might have already been extracted. The fall of a once great hero to such a state is truly lamentable. At that moment, a gentle sound of footsteps echoed, and a graceful figure entered the Blackwater Prison, arriving at the true dragon son cell. What brings you here? Hua Yin stared blankly at Ji Xiao and whispered. They had agreed to give her 3 days, but it hadn't even been 1 day, and a sense of foreboding surged in her heart. The Ji Xiao of the 9 heavens, truly a figure of great renown. Yu Hua coldly spoke with a sullen face. Among the 10 great imperial clans, only his Ascension Imperial Clan had 4 immortal kings, but Yu Yuan had fallen, defeated by Ji Xiao, and this loss had already shaken the foundation of the Ascension Imperial Clan. It seems that the celestial maiden Hua Yin truly intends to hand over your future husband to my Ascension Imperial Clan. But that's fine. In the days to come, my Ascension Imperial Clan will definitely treat the Ji Xiao young master well. Yu Hong said ominously, resting his left hand on his head. The highest-ranked and strongest member of the Ascension Imperial Clan, Yu Ling, said nothing at that moment. He looked at Ji Xiao, his brows furrowed in a Chan shape. He could not sense Ji Xiao's aura, but somehow sensed a power within him that made him tremble. Could it be that he could summon the River of Time? Summon the Celestial Emperor sitting on the throne? Chapter 487, Zhen. Strange black energy oozed from Ji Xiao's fingertips, directly falling onto Yu Ling's crown and into his body and soul. Ugh! Yu Ling groaned in pain, his body shaking like a sieve. At this moment, he was both in pain and joy. He could sense that the incomplete great Tao laws within him were being completed by a strange power, and he could feel his body and soul undergoing a transformation, truly experiencing a feeling of falling into an abyss. However, he was not afraid. Instead, he felt excited. In his view, this power was terrifying, exceedingly terrifying, but so what? As long as he could go further in his cultivation, he would willingly embrace it. Moments latte. Ji Xiao withdrew his hand, and Yu Ling, covered in sweat, slumped to the ground, laughing as if possessed, finally becoming a true, flawless, immortal king. Ha ha ha. Looking at the seemingly mad Yu Ling, Yu Hua and Yu Hong, both injured by Hua Yin and Hua Xian, exchanged glances and swallowed hard, recognizing the desire in each other's eyes. Ji Xiu also saw their thoughts, but he did not immediately act to bring them under his wing. Yixiu. Are you going to let them kneel like this? Liu asked with interest as she sat down next to Ji Xiu. Let them kneel. They know that some things in this world require them to put down their dignity to obtain. Even if they are immortal kings, it's the same. Ji Xiu replied in Ly as he took a sip of the clear wine. And then, Yin Fei also looked at Ji Xiu. Then, I will let them fulfill their wishes. I will have them help this young master capture the remaining 8 imperial clans of the Fourth Realm as quickly as possible, and then we will go home together. Ji Xiu smiled slightly. Home. Hearing this word, the chubby girl jumped up excitedly. Since coming to the Fourth Realm, she hadn't been happy for a single day. Well, except for the time she teased Hua Yin the Genesis mountain range, she had no fondness for the Fourth Realm. She missed her sister Xing'er, her sister Nuan, the gentle Ning Xian, the proud Mo Qing Xian, and even Lu Xie. She knew her master Ji Xiu missed them dearly, especially Mu Bing and Feng Huang. So, she wanted to go home, back to the Nine Heavens continent, back to the place she was most familiar with. Chapter 489. This day was the happiest day for Ji Xiu since arriving in the Fourth Realm, because soon he would be able to see Xian'er. In the third life of the great dream of eternity, after Liu left, he had raised Xian'er, and his feelings for her were beyond what others could imagine. For Liu, she was looking forward to becoming a mother again. In that life, she had wronged Ji Xiu and even more so their daughter Xian'er. But in this life, she would never repeat the same mistakes. Not only Ji Xiu and Liu, but at this moment, all the cultivators and big shots in the Fourth Realm were unaware that this day would change their fates. The once stalled gears of fate would begin to turn again on this day. Time passed quickly. 7 days went by in no time. During these 7 days, Ji Xiu and Liu did not step out of the palace, but the entire Fourth Realm was shaken because of them. Hua Yin went to the Tianjin clan and single-handedly trampled the 2 immortal kings of the Tianjin clan underfoot, perfectly demonstrating what it meant to be a flawless immortal king. Hua Xian went to the Chaos Demon clan, and on that day, he brought back 2 immortal kings from the Chaos Demon clan. No one knew what he did. But after the 2 immortal kings of the Chaos Demon clan arrived at the Ascension Imperial clan, they knelt before the palace. As devout and humble as Yu Hua and Yu Hong had been 7 days prior. Chapter 490, a perfect night, an unparalleled night. The next morning, Ji Xiu woke up from a feeling of numbness and softness throughout his body. He instinctively reached toward the other side of the bed but found no sign of Liu. Sitting up, he put on a black robe and walked out of the palace. On the stone table outside the palace lay a sumptuous breakfast. The chubby girl held a large chicken leg in her left hand and a white meat bun in her right, stuffing her mouth full. Meanwhile, Yin Fei and Liu were chatting about something, both wearing beautiful smiles. When they saw Ji Xiu come out, the chubby girl waved the chicken leg in her hand and shouted indistinctly, "Master, come here. This chicken leg is so delicious. And the big meat bun. It smells so good." Upon hearing this, Yin Fei helplessly poked the chubby girl's chubby little face with her jade hand and said with annoyance, "You little girl, you roasted the ancient mysterious beast of the Ascension Imperial clan. How could it not be delicious?" Ji Xiu, you should have seen the pitiable looks on the faces of the elders of the Ascension Imperial clan this morning, wanting to cry, but with no way out. They must have never imagined, after traversing the Fourth Realm for countless years, that they would encounter this little foodie. Chapter 491. Just as Mu Bing's emotions surged violently, a soft sound of footsteps echoed. Mu Bing opened her eyes, and the affection and fatigue in her beautiful eyes were all gathered at that moment. What happened? Mu Bing asked with a frown, looking at Gu Yao, whose delicate face was somewhat pale. An hour ago, we lost contact with the Dark Heavenly Court. Gu Yao spoke with a very serious tone. Ever since the void, immortal realm fell into darkness, the 9 veins of heaven have been searching for the whereabouts of the generals of the Dark Heavenly Court. Mu Bing and she had exhausted all methods to help them evade the search, but it seems they have ultimately been discovered. Upon hearing this, Mu Bing nodded and responded, "I understand. Next, I will contact the White King and have him investigate any news in the upper realm. If necessary, I will take action myself." Ji Xiu entrusted the Dark Heavenly Court to her when he was in the void immortal realm, and she would not let Ji Xiu down. Understood. Gu Yao nodded. Only she knew how much Mu Bing had changed since leaving the void Immortal realm. Mu Bing felt colder and more authoritative than before. But no one knew what level Mu Bing had reached. Chapter 492. Mu Bing. Why are you here? Chu Li's beautiful eyes flashed with joy as she suddenly stood up. The longevity medicine. Mu Bing said faintly 3 words. Hee. This palace has prepared it for you long ago. Chu Li smiled and nodded, with a new era opening. Looking across the entire Nine Heavens world, only the soil of her Shiyue city had cultivated a plant of longevity medicine. Although this plan of longevity medicine had just taken shape, it had already spread throughout the entire Nine Heavens. Perhaps because of this, for these days, there had been strong and mysterious forces lingering outside Shiyue city, and even the master of the forbidden area had sent people to inquire. However, she could delay as long as possible. Although it was a bit troublesome, no one dared to act wildly in Shiyue city. This was because all forces in the Nine Heavens world knew the relationship between Shiyue city and Jishio, so no one truly dared to act recklessly. After all, Jishio's name was still a great threat to the entire Nine Heavens, even though Jishio's life or death was unknown. It was only when the Tianqing clan came to her door that she realized she could no longer delay. Fortunately, now that Mu Bing had arrived, she could finally breathe a sigh of relief. City Master Chu Li, which part of my words did you not understand? Chapter 493. After Mu Bing and Chu Li returned to the northern Xia capital, Mu Bing immediately took the longevity medicine to the Moonfall Palace. She stood outside the palace door for a while, calming her emotions before forcing a smile and pushing the door open. She didn't want her master to see her emotions. She only wanted her master, Mu Qiu, to take the longevity medicine and live another lifetime. After completing this, she would do what she needed to do. When Mu Qiu saw Mu Bing arrive, she smiled gently and gestured for Mu Bing to sit beside her. Master, Binger has obtained the longevity medicine. Everything will be fine. Mu Bing's beautiful eyes sparkled as she placed a budding longevity medicine in Mu Qiu's hands. Hee. Mu Qiu smiled and shook her head. She didn't look at the longevity medicine. Her gaze remained on Mu Bing's face. What's wrong? Mu Bing was somewhat puzzled as she looked at Mu Qiu. She hoped Mu Qiu would take the longevity medicine soon, but Mu Qiu did not. Binger, you grown up. Mu Qiu reached out and gently tucked Mu Bing's scattered hair behind her ear and then smiled, saying, I remember when I first saw you at the Eternal Ice Mountain. You were even smaller than Wan. Chapter 494. After Mu Qiu returned to the Star Sea, news of Mu Bing ascending to challenge the 9 veins of heaven spread throughout the entire Nine Heavens world in just a few hours. Some people waved their hands in disbelief. After all, over the past year, the 9 veins of heaven had gone too far. Every longevity dynasty and every longevity family's cultivation resources had been completely exploited by them, and if they were unwilling, they would annihilate their clans, extremely tyrannical. Others did not have high hopes for Mu Bing. After all, the 9 veins of heaven were the legendary descendants of the heavenly clan. They stood at the pinnacle of the 9 heavens. Who would dare to say no, and who would dare to defy their orders? Mu Bing's journey was likely a one-way trip. Meanwhile, the demon domain of the 9 heavens had also turned chaotic. The leaders of the demon domain gathered in Shuelao City, and the demon emperor Lu Xie had not shown up for a long time. They did not know what had happened. When Lu Xie returned to Shuelao City, she personally announced a piece of news. The demon ancestor had fallen above the 9 heavens at the end of the ancient starry path. For a moment, the demon domain of the 9 heavens, and even the entire 9 heavens world, fell into silence. Who was the demon ancestor? He was the one who built the 9 heavens demon domain, standing at the pinnacle of the 9 heavens. Even the 9 veins of heaven had to give him some respect, but now he had fallen? Chapter 495. Greetings, Emperor. Greetings, Empress. Greetings, little princess. A group of immortal kings from the 4th realm suddenly knelt down in the direction where Ji Xiu and Li Yu were holding Xiener, their voices booming, full of reverence and respect. Daddy, why are they kneeling? Xiener blinked her big eyes and asked Ji Xiu with some confusion. That's because they love Xiener too much. Ji Xiu smiled and kissed Xiener's delicate face. Xiener, this is the grape wine I stole from my sister Kaka in the Dongxian kingdom. The little chubby girl excitedly ran to Ji Xiu, shaking a beautifully crafted jade bottle in front of Xiener in Ji Xiu's arms. The purple-red wine, resembling the dark night, swayed in the bottle, and when she opened the cap, a mesmerizing fragrance of wine wafted out, intoxicating to the senses. Little chubby girl, is your bottom itchy again? Liu raised her eyebrows, her golden, authoritative eyes calmly staring at the little chubby girl. The little chubby girl exclaimed and hurriedly hid the wine behind her. Lowering her head in embarrassment, muttering softly, "Bad woman." Chapter 496. 3 days later, the powerful figures of the 10 imperial clans stood before the imperial pass Tianyuan, quietly waiting for dawn to arrive. Time's up. Today is the day the emperor leads our fourth realm back to the 9 heavens. How many epochs, how many days and nights, we can finally see the sun and moon of the 9 heavens again. This cage has imprisoned the cultivators of our fourth realm for countless days and nights. Today is the day we defy the heavens and change our fate. We ask the cultivators of the 9 heavens world to tremble in fear. Hey. I look forward to seeing the terrified expressions of the cultivators of the 9 heavens world. The noisy sounds echoed across the sky. At this moment, the faces of each strong figure from the top 10 imperial clans were filled with excitement and madness. Just then, the crowd in front of the emperor's abyss parted like waves. The immortal kings of the 10 imperial clans entered one after another, with golden luxurious carriages rolling into the abyss. This scene resembled the first time Ji Xiu came to the fourth realm, but the scale was much grander, and it seemed that the situation had completely changed from then to now. At this moment, a heavy sound of footsteps echoed. Chapter 497. The opening of the time-space gate. The long silent fourth realm, far beyond the 9 heavens, seemed like a lost ancient ship continuously approaching the realm sea. Ji Xiu, something seems off. The 9 heavens world was now shrouded in a haze. Something seems to have happened. Liu stood with hands behind her back, gazing at the increasingly close 9 heavens world, her expression serious. Could it be that the 9 veins of heaven have attacked the 9 heavens world? Yin Fei frowned and said, "No." Ji Xiu shook his head and spoke coldly. "It is the top 10 forbidden zones above the 9 heavens. The masters of the forbidden zones are attacking the 9 heavens world." Dark turmoil. All the strongest talents of the 9 heavens exclaimed in unison. Every era, the top 10 life forbidden zones of the 9 heavens would instigate a dark turmoil, and each dark turmoil would bring calamity to the beings of the 9 heavens. Countless strong individuals had risen during the dark turmoil, but many renowned strong figures also perished during this period, accompanied by the extinction of billions of lives. However, it seemed that this time something was different. Ji Xiu shook his head. Chapter 498. The Demon Ancestor Great Formation. He. I didn't expect to see that 1's masterpiece after countless ages. However, time passes swiftly. Despite his brilliance, he still fell. His formation cannot stop me. A vast, ancient voice reverberated through the universe, extremely shocking. As the words fell, a figure resembling a black solar eclipse raised its hand and suddenly clenched its fist. Clang! Terrifying laws of heaven transformed into black rain, pouring down like arrows onto the Demon Ancestor Great Formation, protecting the North Summer Dynasty, splashing endless waves of true essence. Wherever the ripples passed, storms of true essence swept out. Boom! 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 The explosive sounds in that instant were like 100,000 volcanoes erupting simultaneously, with lava flying everywhere, resembling 10 suns exploding, the blinding light scorching and terrifying, shaking the entire dynasty as if it were a toy in his hand. At this moment, cold sweat had soaked the backs of all the North Summer cultivators. At this moment, they realized what the power of the master of the 9 heavens life forbidden zone truly was. Under this power, everyone was like ants, without exception. Truly, if the situation goes awry later, you must take Nuan and leave first. Chapter 499. 9 Heavens Continent. Above the capital S sky, the immortal battle. Phoenix, with her golden hair dancing wildly, her eyes blazing with the flames of the celestial phoenix, held the blazing phoenix divine spear, fighting against the 4 immortal strong figures of the burial heaven forbidden zone. Yet she showed no signs of falling behind. Boom! Phoenix flames surged like the sky. The phoenix seemed to have truly become the phoenix god of 9 heavens, exuding an overwhelming pressure, fully embodying what it means to be unparalleled. Woman, you cannot stop us. A cold voice came from an old man in black with white hair from the burial heaven forbidden zone. Indeed, that remnant soul within you cannot sustain you for long. Another strong, stout, middle-aged man holding a slaughter knife spoke, revealing the truest state of the Phoenix at this moment. You are ultimately not in the immortal realm. Falling is your fate. The two immortal strong figures from the burial heaven, forbidden zone, spoke in a very calm tone, as if discussing the most ordinary matter in the world. Upon hearing this, the Phoenix's delicate face showed no change. She held the blazing Phoenix divine spear, sweeping the spear blade across the four immortal realm strong figures. Her red lips slightly parted. Perhaps, today, I will fall. But at least, you will accompany me to the grave. You will never step into the capital, even in death. Her cold voice resonated through the skies, shaking the hearts of every North summer cultivator. At this moment, they all harbored a surge of anger. If the next step was a fight to the death, then let be. Chapter 500. She wore a golden imperial gown, noble and stunning. As the breeze blew, the gown's hem swayed, outlining her exquisitely perfect figure. The golden light of the brilliant moon fell upon her, illuminating her breathtakingly beautiful figure, making everything in the world seem like a backdrop for her. The little girl she was holding looked very small, wearing a simple white outfit, bouncing around adorably. Her delicate little face resembled hers greatly, and upon closer inspection, there was a familiar scent between her brows that reminded Feng Huang, Gu Yao, and Gu Jian. Li Iwa. Gu Yao exclaimed in surprise upon seeing the newcomer. She had seen Li Yu in the void immortal realm before. Although Li Yu was wearing a golden divine emperor mask then, she could still recognize her at a glance. Why does that little girl look so much like the young master? Gu Jian said in a daze. Li Iwa. Feng Huang bit her flower lips. She had heard of the great name of the divine emperor, Li Yu, long ago. The bad woman that the little chubby girl often mentioned was also the woman that Lucia frequently talked about. Most importantly, she knew that this woman had a complicated entanglement with Ji Xiao. Chapter 501. Let us go home. Feng Huang gently rubbed the heads of Wan Wan and Xian Er while standing on the capital city wall and spoke tenderly. Okay, let's go home. Wan Wan excitedly waved her small fist. Xian Er, on the other hand, instinctively looked at Li Yu. When she saw Li Yu nodding at her, she obediently nodded at Feng Huang and said yes. Aunt Feng Huang. Seeing this, Feng Huang laughed. She affectionately took Li Yu's hand and softly said, let's go. To the Ji family. Father, mother, and grandparents will be very happy to see you and Xian Er. Upon hearing this, Li Yu's expression froze. She knew that the father, mother, grandparents Feng Huang mentioned were the closest people to Ji Xiao in this world. Although she had mentally prepared herself long before coming, when the moment arrived, she felt somewhat nervous. No way. The renowned divine emperor of the nine heavens is actually nervous? Gu Yao teasingly remarked as she approached. Li Yu glanced at Gu Yao, shook her head, and then asked, where's Mu Bing? Upon hearing this, Feng Huang, Gu Yao, Gu Jian, and Chu Li's expressions suddenly changed, and the atmosphere became very silent. At this moment, Li Yu frowned, sensing something was off. When she was in the void immortal realm, she had met Mu Bing once. Given Mu Bing's cultivation and combat strength, she should have been the main combatant in the battle for the capital. But now, Mu Bing was actually not present. Chapter 502. A shift in perspective. In the nine heavens demon domain, in front of the White Emperor city, the sky is filled with slaughter, the stars are swaying, and the flames of war explode in the heavens like grand fireworks. But with each explosion, countless strong beings die one after another. The city lord of White Emperor City, the emperor of the demon race, Ziling, stands before the city in a splendid battle skirt, holding a battle spear. Her gaze indifferent as she watches the battle beneath the city. She continuously forms seals with her hands, unleashing thunderous laws and orders, methodically activating large formations of the demon race. In front of White Emperor City, blood rains down and mushroom clouds burst open. The scene is extremely bloody. Beside her stands a tall, handsome, middle-aged man, who is naturally her husband, the Qilin, who had once met Ji Xiao at the peak of the demon domain in the ancient Qilin cave. At this rate, White Emperor City will be breached. Ziling takes a deep breath and speaks softly. Although the lords of the four major life forbidden zones, Reincarnation Sea, Heavenly Ruins, Underworld, and Ancient Forbidden Land, have all gone to the nine heavens demon domain, the 10 immortal strong beings from these four forbidden zones are enough to flatten the entire White Emperor City. The Qilin also sighs deeply. Chapter 503. A shift in perspective. In the nine heavens demon domain, in front of Shui Lao City, The holy beasts from the four major forbidden zones pull four magnificent carriages across the battlefield, with countless beings from the forbidden zones surrounding the carriages, protecting them as they move towards Shui Lao City. At the peak of Shui Lao City, Lu Xie, dressed in a gorgeous black magic skirt, stands with her hands behind her back, gazing at the countless dark beings from the forbidden zones approaching Shui Lao City. When her gaze sweeps over the four carriages pulled by the holy beasts, her beautiful face grows increasingly serious. Behind her, the demon general seems to be engulfed in endless despair, his eyes trembling violently beneath the mask, clearly unable to maintain his composure in the face of the four major Forbidden Zones assault. The great realm king of the southern region, Luo Changsheng, furrows his brow tightly. And the great realm king of the western province also stops drinking, as his wine flask is already empty. The great realm king of the eastern wilderness, Dugu Banruo, stands beside Lu Xie and softly says, "They've come." Hearing this, Lu Xie turns to Dugu Banruo and replies, "In just a few days, wherever the four major forbidden zones have passed, all beings have perished, and the demon dynasty has been destroyed. Now it's our turn at Shui Lao City." Sighing, Luo Changsheng says, "I have already received news that several major demon dynasties in the southern region, including the largest Changsheng family, have been annihilated. The countless beings in the demon domain have been slaughtered, but it seems it doesn't matter now, as it's time for Shui Lao City. I seem to hear the footsteps of destruction that can wipe out the nine heavens demon domain approaching slowly." Chapter 504, Ji Xiu. Mo Qingxian gazes tremblingly at the man leading a group of immortal kings to the battlefield in the demon domain, tears instantly welling up in her eyes. At this moment, her heart is filled with an indescribable emotion. In the past, she was Ji Xiu's captive, humiliated by him and crying every day, but at some point this changed. She began to rely on Ji Xiu, and whenever she encountered difficulties, she would subconsciously think, what would Ji Xiu do? If only Ji Xiu were here. P.S. back. Duga Banruo smiles. In her heart, Ji Xiu is not just the lord of the nine heavens demon domain, but also the elven king of her dark elf clan, the person destined for her. Her temperament is different from Lu Xie's. If Lu Xie's emotions are as clear and captivating as a summer rain that cannot be ignored, then her feelings are like the autumn plum rain, gently nurturing without a sound. Yixiu, the demon general, breathes a sigh of relief. Long ago, Ji Xiu was his best candidate for the demon emperor. Later, Ji Xiu demonstrated through action that the nine heavens demon domain was not his endpoint. For some reason, seeing Ji Xiu return, he felt a quiet sense of relief in his heart. Chapter 505. At this time, while Lu Xie and Hua Yan are locked in a small-scale confrontation, another extremely bloody scene unfolds on the battlefield of the nine heavens demon domain. 12 immortal kings from the fourth realm join the battle, and in an instant, the situation is turned upside down. In just a few breaths, the immortal strong beings from the four major forbidden zones are easily killed by them, while the beings below the immortal realm are not even worth a glance. The forces of the demon domain can easily control them. The 12 immortal kings stand in the void, crossing their arms and looking at the four major life forbidden zone lords with mocking smiles, clearly considering them as their prey, intending to toy with them until death. Gentlemen, is there any room for delay in this matter? We can share information and conspire for the nine heavens. You must know, this is the best era in the nine heavens world in 10,000 epochs. That's right. If we join forces, we might create a true era of immortals. And we can all share the spoils. We can all truly stand at the peak of the nine heavens, immortal for all eternity. Chapter 506. That night, gentle moonlight spills into the demon emperor's palace through the palace bed. A mesmerizing atmosphere, scattered garments, and drawn curtains, along with the scene of Ji Xiu and Lu Xie lying together on the bed, create an intensely blush-inducing and heart-racing picture. At this moment, Lu Xie lies on Ji Xiu's chest like a lazy cat, extending her long, jade-like fingers to draw circles on Ji Xiu's chest. Her stunningly beautiful face still bears a lingering flush, and her pair of purple, beautiful eyes contain an enchanting charm that is both captivating and dignified, embodying the respect and authority of the demon emperor. Ji Xiu, meanwhile, holds the black piece that Lu Xie gave him, his brow slightly furrowed, and his eyes flickering with surprise. He can sense that the power contained within this black piece is the true, supreme power of the heavenly path, capable of instantly killing all immortal kings or immortal beings. The demon ancestor held onto this peace until death. What exactly did he encounter in the heavens? What has happened in the higher realms? Jishio murmurs softly. In the 9 heavens demon domain, he has received the inheritance of the demon ancestor and the path of enlightenment, and has seen the 2 lives of the demon ancestor. If nothing unexpected happens, when the new era begins, the 3rd life of the demon ancestor will have successfully condensed, possessing such extraordinary cultivation that could shake the heavens. Yet the demon ancestor has fallen. Chapter 507. Meanwhile, when dozens of mysterious boats enter the northern summer territory, the northern summer land begins to tremble violently. The various forces of the military intelligence department swiftly spread the news throughout the Iron Floating Tower Army, and within the Iron Floating Tower Army. The cavalry and armed forces quickly relay the message to all the main cities in northern summer. Each Iron Floating Tower Army in every city stands ready. And when they see the mysterious boats streaking across the sky like shooting stars, they all shout, "Welcome back, young master." The thunderous sound echoes through the main cities of northern summer, and every member of the Iron Floating Tower Army, the elite of the military intelligence department, and every cultivator and citizen of northern summer is filled with excitement, their eyes brimming with respect. Finally, when the mysterious boats arrive in the capital of northern summer, it is already nighttime. Boom! The dazzling fireworks burst in the sky over Kyoto, quickly connecting into a cluster, illuminating the entire North Summer with their brilliant glow. As the dark vessel landed, Ji Xiao slowly walked out. The members of the Ji family had been waiting at the military office entrance for a long time. P.S. back. Our Ji family's treasure has finally returned. Grandpa Ji Nu was so excited he jumped up and down. This kid has really become a giant in the 9 heavens. Chapter 508. Nighttime always feels short. Ji Xiao Liu and Feng Huang planned throughout the night outside the falling Maple Palace. Since the 9 veins of heaven dared to act against the dark heavenly court, and Mu Bing also went to the 9 veins of heaven, their next target was naturally the descendants of the heavenly emperor who spanned the 9 heavens and the ancient epochs, the 9 great heavenly clans. Once all the plans were completed, Ji Xiao issued a series of orders. A ray of morning light had already fallen over Kyoto. Ji Xiao took a deep breath of fresh air, feeling very peaceful, while Liu and Feng Huang exchanged glances and shook their heads with faint smiles. Clang! The door of falling Maple Palace opened. The chubby girl, rubbing her sleepy eyes, yawned and stumbled out of the palace door. The first thing she said was, "Sister Feng Huang, Kaka is hungry. I want to eat chicken. Roast chicken." Hearing this, Feng Huang smiled helplessly, while Liu looked at the chubby girl with interest, her beautiful eyes full of playful intent. Just then, the chubby girl saw Ji Xiao sitting at the stone table in the small courtyard, holding Xing air. Her little mouth opened wide as she shouted, "Master!" As soon as she finished speaking, the little girl jumped into Ji Xiao's arms. Why are you still so greedy? Chapter 509. Senior, it seems you already knew this young master would come here, right? Ji Xiao walked slowly to the center of the main hall, hand behind his back, and asked, "Yes." The old man in white nodded. After saying this, he put down his wine cup, stood up unsteadily, and continued, "She said you would definitely come here." She? Ji Xiao raised an eyebrow. "Mu Bing." The old man in white replied with that name. Upon hearing this, Ji Xiao fell silent for a moment and then spoke. "So, it was she who hurt you like this?" Hee. The old man in white gave a bitter smile and said, "Who else could it be besides her? The world has changed now. First you, then her. Can we old folks not strive with all our might for change?" Hearing this, Ji Xiao was somewhat surprised. To be able to injure a celestial king like that, Mu Bing must have at least reached the celestial king realm. Could it be that she regained her cultivation? Stopping his thoughts there, Ji Xiao suddenly asked, "Where is she? Where are my dark heavenly court generals imprisoned by you?" Upon hearing this, the old man in white shook his head and said, "Has your highness not discovered yet? The 9 veins of heaven now only has old folks like me with depleted bloodlines remaining." Chapter 510. Do you miss me? The charming and alluring voice of Nan Lingyue echoed in the sky. Upon hearing this, Ji Xiao also smiled. The woman before him was the imperial advisor who once conspired with him for North Summer, later becoming the supreme heavenly empress. Finally, they met in the divine emperor palace of the 9 heavens. To put it carefully, they had indeed done many significant things together, creating a bond of life and death. Now, It seemed that Nan Lingwe had gotten what she wanted. Nan Lingwe. Now, should I call you Empress or Divine Maiden? Ji Xiao smiled and looked at Nan Lingwe's beautiful eyes, softly asking. Hee hee. Nan Lingwe shook her head and lightly laughed, stepping forward to gently pinch Ji Xiao's chin, teasingly saying, you can call me whatever you like. Our relationship can be more casual, can it? Hearing this, Ji Xiao was speechless, while Lucie's gaze became increasingly strange. A woman's intuition told her that there must be something going on between Ji Xiao and Nan Lingwe. Something significant. Stopping her thoughts there, Lucia stepped in front of Ji Xiao and extended her jade hand to Nan Lingwe with a smile. Chapter 511. In the world of the upper celestial furnace. Familiar scenes made Ji Xiao stand still for a long time. Nan Lingwe, where's the upper celestial starstone? Ji Xiao asked in confusion, as he did not sense the aura of the star stone at this moment. Upon hearing this, Nan Lingwe turned to look at Ji Xiao and then opened her palm. Clang! As the starlight flickered, a jade stone the size of a fist, containing the light of the stars, appeared in her palm. Here it is, Nan Lingwe said with a smile while looking at Ji Xiao. The upper celestial star stone has been in your spatial ring? Ji Xiao was somewhat dumbfounded. Yes. Nan Lingwe nodded. Since that's the case, why did you call me here? Ji Xiao looked at Nan Lingwe's stunning and noble appearance, filled with questions. Hee hee. Nan Lingwe covered her mouth and laughed softly. She stepped forward, ruffled Ji Xiao's hair, and quietly said, some things shouldn't be seen by your demon emperor wife, right? Ah. Ji Xiao was taken aback, completely not understanding what Nan Lingwe was saying. Just then, Nan Lingwe suddenly grabbed Ji Xiao's collar, and their bodies were tightly pressed against each other, close enough to feel each other's breath. You! Ji Xiao looked at Nan Lingwe in shock, and as soon as he spoke a word, his mouth was forcefully covered by Nan Lingwe. Chapter 512. In front of the Supreme Heavenly Hall, everyone looked at Ji Xiao and Ning Xian, who were embracing each other with warm smiles on their faces. Everyone knew that Ning Xian was the woman who had been by Ji Xiao's side the longest. Even Lucia had to admit this point. She had bullied Gu Yao, often bullied Mo Qinxian, and frequently clashed with Liu, but she had never targeted Ning Xian. After all, Ning Xian was the most gentle and understanding woman she had ever seen. During the year Ji Xiao was captured by Liu, it seemed that only Ning Xian could bring her peace. Mom, who is she? Xian'er looked at Ning Xian with wide eyes and whispered, her name is Ning Xian. She is your Aunt Xian. Liu smiled and ruffled Xian'er's hair. Sister Xian, woo-woo, Kaka misses you. The chubby girl ran over with teary eyes and tightly hugged Ning Xian's thigh. She still remembered the days in the Nine Heavens demon domain, where Ning Xian always saved the best food for her. Not only that, but Ning Xian often protected her when Lucia bullied her. To her, Ning Xian was like an older sister. Chapter 513. 3 days passed quickly. At this moment, the entire Supreme Heaven was on high alert under the orders of Mu Xianin and Luo Yuzhu. While Nan Lingwe had awakened the two masters of the life forbidden zone who were sleeping in the Tianma mountain, these two elders, like other masters of the life forbidden zone, had reached the level of Immortal King, and now they obeyed Nan Lingwe's command. The 21 Immortal Kings from the Fourth Realm were also extremely excited today, as they would soon follow Ji Xiao to the Upper Realm. They had to consider whether this was perhaps their only chance in this life, an opportunity to advance further. At this moment, the top of the Supreme Heaven Great Hall was fully prepared, only lacking the right timing. Ji Xiao, Nan Lingwe, Liu, and Lucia stood on the stone steps of the hall, looking up at the gradually distant night sky. It's time, Nan Lingwe said solemnly. Ji Xiao nodded and took out the Upper Realm Star Stone, which contained the power of strange starlight. Crack! When Ji Xiao crushed the star stone in his hand, clang! Endless starlight erupted from the shattered star stone, transforming into a river of stars that rolled back across the nine heavens. The stars in the sky slowly moved and finally arranged themselves into an ancient rune imprint. Chapter 514. The ancient road of stars is a road that only existed in the legends of the nine heavens, forged by countless stars, stretching into the nine heavens. Along the way, Ji Xiao and his companions spoke little. Even the usually lively chubby girl said very little. She seemed to sense the danger at the end of the ancient road. But she didn't show it, because she was now an older sister and had to set a good example in front of Wan and Xian'er. Wan was very obedient, holding the hand of the phoenix. her big eyes sparkling as she looked at the billowing sea of realms on both sides of the ancient road of stars, as well as the brilliant star river of the boundless universe around her. A charming smile adorned her delicate face. Xian'er was sound asleep in Liyu's arms, and Liyu looked at the little one with eyes full of affection and satisfaction. The heartbeats of dozens of immortal kings also quickened as they approached the end of the ancient road. Finally, Ji Xiao and the others arrived at the end of the ancient road of stars, where there was a barrier ahead. Without hesitation, Ji Xiao stepped through the barrier first, and everyone followed closely behind. Clang, 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 clang. The light of time and space transformed into a rain of light swirling around them. The breath of the upper realm's primordial chaos rushed toward them. Their bodies floated upward along with the rain of light. Chapter 515. Inside the Reincarnation Tower. The intense aura of the heavenly Tao rushed toward them. The first layer of the ancient tower was filled with rare treasures from the nine heavens, as well as various ancient imperial scriptures that had shocked an era but vanished from the world. Ji Xiao didn't even glance at them and went straight up to the second layer of the Reincarnation Tower. The second layer of the Reincarnation Tower was a black water prison, with mysterious black water imprisoning powerful beings. Ancient gods, great demons of the demon domain, and mages of the time and space clan, even followers of the upper realm empress. Ji Xiao looked at the legendary powerful beings in front of him, who only existed in the ancient history of the nine heavens, and couldn't help but be momentarily stunned. He then activated the upper realm fire, which topped the strange fire ranking, instantly evaporating the black water. Slowly, many powerful beings awakened, but even after awakening, the life essence and power in their bodies had nearly been drained by the black water, leaving them without combat ability. "Who are you?" a weak voice asked. In response, Ji Xiao offered no explanation. He simply took out dozens of strange soul stones from his storage ring and tossed them in front of these powerful beings, saying, "Seniors, you now have two choices. First, accept the strange power and join the battlefield." Chapter 516. In the upper realm, the skies seemed to be half-stained red with blood. In this battle, the highest level in history had finally come to the last fight. The strong of the nine meridians of heaven gathered like clouds, while Ji Xiao's strange army was even more formidable, especially when the ancient strong from the Reincarnation Tower transformed into strange beings and joined the battle. The nine meridians of heaven fought and retreated as torrents of imperial blood floated in the void, dazzling and tragic. In the end, the dark heavenly army stepped out of the Reincarnation Tower with Ji Xiao, and in that moment, all the strong of the nine meridians of heaven knew that this battle was over. Meow meow. Sister Jialuo, the chubby girl, and Xian'er excitedly rushed toward Jia Miao Miao and Jialuo. "Great, you finally came back." Xian tightly hooked Yaluo, her delicate and pure face filled with emotion. "Xian'er, you've grown up," Jialuo sighed, "and the chubby girl has gained some weight." Jia Miao Miao reached out her jade hand and gently pinched the chubby girl's rosy little face. "Hee hee." The chubby girl scratched her head shyly. Watching the scene, Ji Xiao smiled and walked up to Mo Qin Xian, saying nothing but quietly looking at her. "You." Chapter 517. Beneath the Sea Wall of Realms. Everyone looked in amazement at the mysterious old man on the dam, with no one knowing who he was or sensing his aura. Just then, the old man suddenly turned to look at everyone. At this moment, the thick fog on the old man's face dissipated, revealing an extremely ordinary and kind face. "Sir." The strong from the time and space clan knelt in front of the old man, filled with excitement, and shouted. At this moment, everyone knew the identity of the old man. He was the renowned time and space deity recorded in the first volume of the ancient history of the nine heavens. Some said he created reincarnation, while others said he was the first emperor who opened the world of the nine heavens. His status was higher than even the legendary strong like the demon ancestor, the god ancestor, and the upper realm empress. "It's actually him." Lu Xie took a deep breath, clearly shocked as well. Who else could it be? Nan Lingwei appeared very calm. "Mom, is this old grandpa a bad person?" Xiana asked innocently, as she couldn't sense any hostility from the time and space deity, so she was confused. "No." Liu smiled and shook her head. Chapter 518. Above the upper realm. A bright moon hung high in the sky. This world seemed to be devoid of people, but everyone felt a chill running down their spines. This was what was known as the upper realm, The eyes of the immortal kings from the fourth realm sparkled with shock. What exactly existed here? Hua Yin looked at the followers of the celestial empress, the great demon of the demon realm, and the descendants of the time and space lineage. It seemed that only they could provide answers now. We have come from the future. The followers of the celestial empress shook their heads. Yes, the great demon of the demon realm sighed. We also followed the master to the celestial realm, and then fell into the tower of reincarnation, explained the descendant of the time and space lineage. Daddy, I am scared. Nuan tugged at Jishio's clothes, her big eyes filled with fear as she sensed extreme ominousness in this place. It's okay. Jishio gently ruffled Nuan's hair to comfort her. That's right. It's okay, Nuan. Here, you have the strongest sister Kaka in the world to protect you. No one can hurt you. The little chubby girl placed her hands on her hips, glaring around with wide eyes, looking angry. Chapter 519. Above the celestial realm. The light rain filled the sky, and Jishio stood quietly in the light rain, gazing at the ancestral deity before him, allowing the light rain to converge into his body. Now, he had comprehended the ultimate essence of the transformation into freedom technique, so even without the immortal burial compass, he could still perform a perfect level of transformation into freedom technique, which gave him confidence. Clang! Amidst the falling light rain, he instantly broke through to the immortal emperor realm, an unparalleled supreme technique of ancient times. Yixiu, you are indeed impressive, but even so, you still cannot win. The ancestral deity looked at Jishio with a cold smile. Is that so? Jishio coldly stared at the ancestral deity and said, as an immortal emperor, aren't you speaking too soon? The ancestral deity's realm was indeed that of an immortal emperor, and he was only a hair's breadth away, or one opportunity away from breaking through to the realm of the ritual path beyond the immortal emperor, which was also the reason the ancestral deity wanted to fuse with the heavenly heart mark above the celestial realm, to become the master of the heavenly way. No, you are wrong. What I mean is that you have underestimated what I am thinking. A crazy smile appeared on the ancestral deity's lips as he joined his hands together. Clang! The bright moon in the sky radiated endless brilliance, and a door of time and space opened. Chapter 520. The Mysterious Soul River. The mysterious ancient underworld. The Heavenly Emperor's burial pit. The four-polar floating soil. Four mysterious places served as outposts to monitor the heavens, and the mysterious plateau served as the base camp. Here, all the mysterious ancestors are immortal, eternal, and indestructible. After completing all this, Jishio returned to the Boundary Sea Dam, sitting alone on the Boundary Sea, gazing at the constantly surging waves that seemed to be everlasting. Now, everything had settled down. That sword separated the ancient years, buying time for the Nine Heavens world. By the time the Nine Heavens reopened, they would become the nightmare of all worlds, and no one would dare to covet the Nine Heavens world anymore. At this moment, he just wanted to find that girl who once smiled innocently under the tree of life, in front of the Three Lives Stone. Huff! Jishio took a deep breath, stood up, took out the ghost flute, and placed it to his lips, playing the final piece of the soul-gathering trilogy, the Summoning of Spirits. The sound of summoning echoed. The mournful and sorrowful notes resonated throughout the Boundary Sea. Each note seemed capable of tearing apart a person's heart. Xianair and Nuan listened to this melody. Both little girls fell heartache, as if they could empathize with their father's feelings at this moment. Chapter 521. Half a year. It has been half a year since the battle in the celestial realm. The mysterious soul river gathers all invading souls. The mysterious ancient underworld establishes the 6 paths of reincarnation. The 4 polar floating soil, the first mysterious holy land of the 9 heavens. The Heavenly Emperor's burial pit, burying the heavens, burying the earth, burying all beings. In just half a year's time, the name of the mysterious plateau resounded throughout the worlds. The 9 heavens world is no longer like the banquet served to the heavens as it was in the ancient era, but has truly become the ruler. In the eyes of outsiders, the 9 heavens world has already become the supreme existence, while the mysterious ancestors existing in the 9 heavens have become the terrifying villains with supreme power in the eyes of the strong of all worlds. The Divine Emperor, Liu, has conquered over 100 realms in just half a year, as if she was searching for something or someone. Not only Liu, but also Lu Xie, Nan Lingyue, Gu Yao, Gu Jian, Ning Xian and others have all set out to seek traces of that person. But half a year has passed, a full 6 months, yet they still cannot find any trace of that person. In the Nine Heavens world, the Divine Emperor's Palace, the Sweet Dew Terrace. In April, the spring rain is hazy, and prosperity sways in the sky. Chapter 522. The Upper Realm of the Nine Heavens, the Realm of the Gods. The bright moonlight spilled into the Divine Emperor's Palace from outside the window. Liu sat on the palace bed, quietly watching as the milk dumpling finally fell into a deep sleep with much difficulty, letting out a sigh of relief. Half a year's time has passed, and Xian'er has grown quite a bit. She tightly closed her eyes, her small nose rising and falling with her even breaths, her delicate lips gently pressed together, and her pink, jade-like little face still bore traces of tears. In her deep sleep, she occasionally murmured, "Daddy, Daddy," sigh. Hearing this, Liu couldn't help but sigh, then gently hugged her precious daughter to comfort her. When we return to the Ji family tomorrow, Xian'er's mood should improve a bit. After saying this, Liu turned to leave the Divine Emperor's Palace. Now, the entire Nine Heavens realm is under her control, and there are too many matters for her to handle. However, less than a quarter of an hour after she left, on the palace bed, Xian'er's long eyelashes fluttered gently. Her closed eyes slowly opened. It seemed she sensed something, and a surprised smile appeared on her pink, chubby face. "It's Daddy. Daddy is back." Saying this, the little girl kicked off the quilt, not even bothering to put on her shoes, and rushed barefoot towards the direction of the Sweet Dew Terrace.